Hi everyone, this is Mike Thoming for CIT 360, and today we're going to talk a little bit about use case diagrams and also use cases. So at a very high level, use cases are documents that you put together to show how you expect a user is going to use a system. So we'll stick with software systems for right now. You need to consider, as you're writing an application, how many different kinds of users you're going to have and what each of their experiences is going to look like. What kinds of things they're going to want to do in the system, what access they're going to need, what tasks, what actions that they're going to want to be able to do, and then account for those actions, outline how those should go, and just get very granular and detailed with how that should look so that as you code the software, you can look at that diagram and know that you're meeting the needs of the customer or the user. So here's a very rough use case diagram. We've got 3 potential users and 7 actions that they all might be involved in. So we'll start with what a client might experience. They're going to need to be able to log in to the system. We could have a login use case that shows how that is supposed to happen. Client is going to want to be able to submit requests in my theoretical system. This is a tech support ticket tracking system. So client's going to want to be able to submit requests. So we'd have to have a use case for that type of behavior and how that should look. They won't be able to accept or update or close requests. All of that is only able to be done by a technician. So the last thing they can do is simply log out. So those 3 actions are the things that a client should be able to do. And we would write descriptions, use case documents around that. Then we've got a technician who also needs to be able to log in. That might be a little different from how a client would log in, but same general idea. Then they wouldn't necessarily need to submit requests, but they need to be able to accept ones that are submitted to them. They need to be able to update status, close those requests, and then, of course, log out of the system. So again, a little overlap there, but some unique actions that we would have to write use case documents for to make sure that we're accommodating this type of user the way that they need in this system. My last type is a manager, and they'll need to log in and log out cases as well, but they're going to need one extra one, and that is to manage users. And that would include, I assume, technicians and client access as well. So just one extra case that they would need to account for. So that's the purpose of the diagram, and once you've got that kind of outlined, then you can actually write the use case documentation. And so that might look something like this. So looking at it from the perspective of a client, they would submit a request. What is that action? What actors would need to take it? Sometimes I could see a support agent maybe needing to create a request like that, but then there's preconditions perhaps. So for example, a customer in this case needs to have a user account before they can get into the system and submit a ticket. They need to know generally what the process is for submitting tickets. So that might take some training, or hopefully the system is intuitive enough that they can figure it out while they're going. And in my theoretical world, you want to have service level agreements or SLAs in place that are clear to both parties as to what to expect for these tickets once they get created. Post conditions, just in this case, they need to link to the ticket. They need to know that it was created successfully and they can reference back to it. But basically just anything that you expect to be done at the end of the whole process. Then the meat of this is the flow. So what are they actually going to do in this particular case? What do you want to make sure they're able to do in the software? And then we have an alternative flows area where if there's any adjustments, any different ways that they might need to do things, or if you anticipate any run into that you're planning for and they have a different way around that, then you should list that here. Finally, if there are any exceptions or things that you don't account for or can't account for, then you can outline that here. So this ends up being a use case that you can then help more clearly define the software as you're writing it. And then when you think you're done with the software, you can go back to these documents to see if they match, if you've delivered the kind of functionality that you expected to. So I've created use case documents for each of those 3 users as outlined in my diagram. Same general idea behind each one. But again, the whole point is that it gives us something to work from as we're writing the software, and then we can look back and know that we've delivered the functionality that was needed or that we determined in our original exploration. So that's the purpose of use cases and use case diagrams. So we'll wrap it up here for now. Thanks for watching.